When I put these two words on screen, what typically comes to mind? Is it this? Or this? Or maybe even this? And fuck it, let's throw this one on there because World War II and zombies is about as iconic of a duo as peanut butter and jelly. And if you're like me, then this one's the one that came to mind. Usually the mind goes to video games because, well, it's a relatively saturated genre there. And as a young wee little fella, those certainly were games I would frequent. But what's better than playing a video game? That's right, watching one. Now put down the control! When the German film Dead Snow came out in 2009 and the sequel in 2014, Dead Snow Red vs. Dead, I was rightfully stoked. The games I played had as close as it got to a movie adaptation. Obviously not in the same universe, but goddammit, I was psyched. It satiated the hunger, but never truly filled the shooter video game fantasy I had so desperately wanted in a film. Now allow me to curb some expectations here. Although it's not run and gun crazy like anything Call of Duty related, it does kind of feel like a Wolfenstein adaptation into a film. The sort of alternative history with the Eternal Reich and whatnot. There is run and gun, just not with zombies, but there are zombies in the film. That is until fourscore and about 5 years in the past, 2018, a film director, Julius Avery, fully visualized what small me had wanted so badly. And if you don't know what film I'm talking about just yet, let me put you on some. I'm talking about the movie Overlord. Perhaps the closest we will get to a zombie video game being portrayed on the silver screen. This is Overlord by Julius Avery, produced by J.J. Abrams. First, who is Julius Avery? You may recognize the name from his most recent film, The Pope's Exorcist, which, you know, ain't really my cup of tea. Some of you might have liked it, but, you know, more power to you. I'm more of a coffee guy myself anyway. Or perhaps you know him from the award-winning short film Jerry Can. How about Son of a Gun? Son of a bitch was taken, but it has Obi-Wan. Julius Avery is a film director from the great outback, down under. Shout out to the emus, 1-0 baby. I'm just kidding, Australia, we love you. But it's safe to say he's got some film experience. Overlord was perhaps Mr. Avery's largest concept to date. With previous films being created on a lower budget, Overlord came in with a decent $38 million budget, which is like half the Fortnite item shop. Grossing $41 million worldwide, it's safe to say the performance in the box office was all but stellar. But why not when it has so much going for it? It's not like there was any other big huge films coming out that... Right. Enough fooling around, let's dive in. Warning, I will be spoiling this entire movie, so if you don't want any spoilers, click off of this. But if you want to stick around, check out the review on it and all that, and every reason why it's so fucking awesome, then stick around, baby. Overlord wastes no time establishing the tone with a dreary color palette that spells impending doom. We are introduced to our company of heroes here with my boy here claiming he'll single-handedly make light work of big evil. Pow! We all go home! I trust this man to clip Hitler faster than you could say Schvoyadel. Classic Italian-American. Some notable characters here: Corporal Ford, EFC Boyd, or Private First Class, Morton Chase, and Lyle Tibbet. We learn pretty quickly that Corporal Ford is not one to be fucked with. Tough as nails, a regular at the Salty Spittoon. The squad is given a mission debrief by Sergeant Renzin. The objective, capture a radio tower atop a church in France to disrupt recon as preparation for the storming of Normandy. Our boys here are like the opening act before the main event. Things soon turn into a white woman's baby shower as we enter the gender reveal event. This whole spectacle is visually stunning. The contrast of neon glows in the shroud of darkness, with beams of spotlights raising from the ground like spires of light. Hey, someone pulled a fire sale. Someone go find the nearest box. The plane gets turned to Swiss cheese along with half the occupants, and they do not hold back with bodies blowing apart from the massive anti-air rounds. It's visceral, it's gory, it's spectacular. And anyone who didn't see this in theaters completely missed out. The sound design in this movie is spectacular. Mwah, beautiful. Boyce falls to earth and lands behind enemy lines in some water. The stark contrast between the absolute nightmare in the sky and the silent, solitary forest amplifies the sense of anxiety as Boyce takes note of his surroundings. But we're not alone here. General Ford is in the bush too, and they arrive just in time for a stand-up act hosted by Sergeant happening just a few hundred yards away. Radio tower, I hardly know her. Pineapple belongs on pizza. Welcome to Starbucks, what can I get for you? Yeah, I'll have a large. After a short standoff, the boys are back. Now our adventure begins. The The landmine knocks one and leaves the rest of the squad shaken, but through the disorientation, a figure is seen in the woods. A woman chase ensues and she is captured. This is Chloe, a French woman who lives in the area and knows the way back to safety. Well, as safe as you can be given the circumstances, but rats roam the streets, so enter the stealth encounter. Now, so far, things have been relatively war movie forward. I think we can all agree there. Nothing of supernatural extent. The vibes are dark, but that's, typical for the course, But our first hint of something more going on occurs when our crew is led into a house by the French girl. Her mother is sick and locked in her room until she is healed. The croaks and groans echo through the halls, which would creep me the fuck out personally, but in war, beggars can't be choosers. Fortnite Pro gets the drop on our boy and secures himself a squad wipe. Hey, just playing. Little man definitely rocking the red nice skin. Creator code Baguette. We file up to the attic for some game plan review. Conveniently, the house they're residing in is within close proximity of the radio tower on the church. We peep the horror as a few French civilians are executed in the street, really driving home that Overlord did not come here to fuck around. Showing the horrors of war in a grisly manner sets the tone in such a phenomenal way. The stakes are high, no one is safe. Fortnite Kid takes a break from TikTok to scare the gabagool out of Tibbet.
Oh, Jesus. We gotta put a bell on this little fucker or something.
While the fellas argue over what plan of action to take, Boyce excuses himself to play investigator. The Lorna Shore playing in Mom's room draws him near, to which we are given our first peek at what's to come. Neutrogena's worst representative answers the door for a moment and sheesh! The makeup team did a great job here visualizing something straight from the crypt. Pus-filled boils cover every inch of her skin, her hair is left to scraggly strands, like a ball of chewed gum pulled straight from the carpet. But we're still in for a surprise, hang on guys. Whenever I watch a zombie movie, I'm usually thinking, well shit, there's like media out there. This is obviously a zombie. You see something fucked up, oh, that's a zombie right there, But, then I took a second thought and I'm like, wait, this is World War II. The first zombie movie ever filmed, or I guess, portrayed in the mainstream, was George A. Romero's 1968 film Night of the Living Dead, 2.5 decades after the events of this took place. So, given the time, that hadn't come out yet, so, touche. The Germans come in for the nightly sweep of the town, but big evil Captain Waffner has a sneaking suspicion that the Americans spotted in the area are taking refuge in her house. One tension-filled close call later, and Captain Waffles risks it all for the nookie. Given head? How about no head? With the captain captured, Boyce is sent on to map out the radio tower on the church. The second piece to our puzzle is unveiled as carts of decrepit bodies are seen being wheeled into the church. Hardly clinging to life, malnourished and diseased, they moan and groan more than I do after a Thanksgiving dinner. And we haven't even gotten to dessert. A sweet little puppy chases Boyce, nearly blowing his cover, and he escapes in the back of a party bus. Now clearly this is an actor and not some mannequin, but god damn, he would slay at poker. Can't read this guy for shit. Conveniently, the vehicles arrive inside of the church, which streamlines the investigation but puts Boyce in a bit of a pickle. There's some glory holes that give scientists a safe viewpoint of the cells behind them. Now we're really getting into the horror elements. The environment drips with humidity like some steampunk labyrinth, and wails of agony penetrate the walls. Consider the tone shifted. Oh fuck! Boyce enters what appears to be a lab with slime and goop all over the place and notices a sack hanging from the ceiling, harboring a body mounted with tubes bathing in some viscera like a big ass fruit gusher. A voice calls out from behind a curtain and Jesus Christ! So head? We're reunited with a squad mate, and he has seen some shit. Sweet Lord Almighty, it makes my fucking back twitch. The escape ensues, and the duo return to break the news to the rest of the squad. Now, I always find these concepts rather interesting because, for all the history buffs out there, there are, records of Nazis doing experiments on humans, whether for medical reasons or just plain cruelty, and most of which were considerably fucking inhumane and utterly insane. So something like this is not far from possible. For all we know, some shit like this happened, Bordering a sci-fi body horror reality is terrifying, but adds a layer of horror and disgust to pieces of film like this. Now, with Boyce understandably shaken, trying to explain the horrors of which he's seen, the team isn't really buying it. But enter the evidence! Captain Wiffleball gets a light interrogation on why a serum is being created in the underground lab, what they plan on doing with it, and the Mario coins are beaten out of him. A meeting takes place downstairs, but our beloved cameraman stands watch over an unconscious whack-a-mole. Unfortunately, unconscious is too safe of an assumption, because the powered-on DS falls out of his pocket, and he writhes free, gunning down our boy. Now, coming to an action film like this, I didn't really expect there to be any emotion, I wasn't expecting to have my heartstrings tugged on, But shit, they fucking got it here.
Don't let me die, okay?
You're not gonna die. I'm gonna die, baby. All right.
Chase, look at me.
Chase, where's my camera? It's right here. Where's your camera?
Boyce does not accept this fate and injects Jason with the serum, and he springs awake. It's kind of bittersweet because on one hand I love this dude, glad he's back, but the abject horror in everyone's face and the abnormality of his presence spells impending doom. And so the full moon sings. Body horror to the max. Jason's return is short-lived because there ain't no way. Strudel reveals the plan. 1,000-year Reich, eternal life for the army.
I'm back!
Psych. Boyce turns Jason into ground chuck with the butt of his rifle. Now this is a relatively small detail, but I think it adds an extra impact to how gory this bit is. Although a decent bit is kept off screen, you can assume how violent it is. You can hear the rifle crunching through the skull until it eventually turns into wet thuds against the hardwood floor. Fucking brutal. Wham Bam steals the child and a firefight in the streets ensues, but he receives the Harvey Dent fade and scurries back to the lab. With his wounds appearing to be fatal in time, Harvey starts juicing up on the Liver King regimen, and now we definitely have the boss on our hands. A superhuman zombie Nazi. Fuck. So how will our heroes infiltrate the castle walls? I'll let Dr. Evil give this one to you.
You're gonna start a riot, and we're gonna walk out the front door.
The second in command gets a mind-blowing close-up and the raid begins. Wave after wave gets mowed down in a guerrilla strike siege while Boyce and company walk right on in. During their search for the boy, they almost get caught lacking, but Boyce got you covered. And our first creature is Loose. The child is found, and Boyce decides to stay behind to complete their mission of raiding the radio tower. Mini-boss event ensues between Chloe and X-Men Origins version of Deadpool, but she has found the mystery box and pulled something spicy. Cut to Corporal Ford, who has made it to the radio tower, and here we have our boss fight arena. A roided out Whopper starts hitting him with the fade while Boyce plants charges around the facility. Ford is clearly running without Juggernog, so we can expect a quick down. We get some introductory dialogue and Boyce gets held up by the scientist, but quickly bests him in battle.
Light work, no reaction.
She's that mini-boss. Little man escapes the church and runs back to safety through a hail of gunfire. Tibbet goes for the clutch save and no! Italiano! I love the contrast of the plots here because on one hand you got your typical war movie with all the firefights and bop, you know what I mean? But then on the other hand you get horror. Like zombies, creature feature, you know that? Mwah, fantastico. We got our infantry combat, now let's see what Ford's up to. Zombie Man gets his first hook for the entity, but Boyce comes in for the save. Ford juices up and levels the playing field with some liquid strength, which has gotta feel fucking great, right?
Not so fucking great.
Fair enough. The boss fight continues and some weighty superhuman punches are exchanged, resulting in the two of them looking like my stomach after my morning cup of joe. Are we starting to see how this is very video game-ish, or is it just me? Like, come on. Ford makes a final act of valor as his condition worsens, visualized by the bloodshot eyes and infected veins spiderwebbing across his discolored skin. They didn't have time to set the charges, and Ford knew this was a suicide mission. If he's going out with a bang. A second health bar appears, but Ford lands the final blow, destroying the facility, while Boyce races the clock to extraction. Mission success, and the XP gets divvied out. Back at home base, Boyce is questioned on whether or not rumors of experiments and fucking labs are true, but hesitantly denies them. We can assume here there's an internal battle of ethics, which, you know, makes sense. Should these experiments and Pandora's box be opened for the rest of the world to see and take advantage of, or should it remain in the ground for eternity? Congratulations, Boyce, you saved the whole plot of history. And oh my god, Tibbet, grazie Dio! The battle has concluded and our boys are clear for the storming of Normandy. Now the ending here remains effective because despite all the sci-fi elements, there's still a shred of possibility that this stuff was happening. See, with the evidence of such supernatural cruelty being buried underground, the odds of it being unearthed are slim to none. And with such a monumentous, victorious, mind you, event taking place the next day, do you think that the prep work would get more of the attention? Or the actual battle, you know, that changed history? I'll take the latter. Now, personally, I have nothing to nitpick about this movie. I fucking love it. The action is full force, in your face, fucking hard. There really is no dull moment. The build up, the teasing, the tension, the reveal, the payoff, it's all there. It all just kind of blends together in a medley of supernatural fuckery. Everything fits and the pacing's as smooth as it gets. No extra details to be cut. Objectives, side quests, mini bosses, like stealth portions, come on. Overlord is a criminally underrated film that not only respects your time, but deserves it. For horror fanatics, war movie enjoyers, video gamers, it's all there. It has been a memorable film I go back to and watch at least every few months because it blends every genre I love into one. They don't slack with the gore, there's emotion and passion that truly shines here. Don't sleep on this. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Have you seen Overlord? Did you love it or did you love it? If you haven't seen it yet, I very highly recommend that you leave and go and watch it. 100%. You will not regret it. I can guarantee you'll have fun. If you can suspend your disbelief a little bit, given that it is a zombie movie, it's a damn good time. It's easily one of my favorite movies in the past decade. And that's all for today. Hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, comment what your favorite part of the movie is if you've seen it. Take good care of yourselves, be safe, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Deuces.